Oh, there we go. Holy crap! I was like wondering if it was going to finally kick in, like drugs.
Kick
Folks,
it.
kick it, folks. I am Eric Tenkar, your bartender in the OSR. Today we have a very large panel of personages within the OSR, and the
Thank
frickin'
you.
man.
Finally.
Sorry, Glenn, I didn't see you in the background.
Well, you might not see me very much. The damn camera's going
Whoa.
crazy again.
Holy Christmas!
Yeah, what's going? What
He's
is?
not
There
just
sounds like
old man Grodnard. He's using an
is there a
analog
machine
setup.
gun in the bag? Oh my
Last-
God! Look at that! Wow.
Jeez.
Is he real, or is he just something in the computer?
It's like an
I
AI.
think he's like Max Headroom, except
Max
it's,
Headroom.
It's Glenn Headroom. Wow.
All right.
So for all of you that don't know, this is my last show ever, and we're doing an audition. Who is going to replace me on Wednesday nights? So we have starting at the top, we have Tom of Tabletop Tap Room. I'm going to put him as odds-on favorite because his wife helps him, and so that's two people helping, not
That's
just
right.
one. You two advise one. Right next to them, we have Mr. Don Samora. Don Samora is a dark horse candidate. By the way, you might notice everybody here. There's something in common. They're everybody else has no hair. So that's another plus for our man up there. But Don Samora, right underneath Don Samora is Robert Block. Or Robert Block is not
no.
is not gonna. I'm sorry,
Joe, not
but if you're going to
I
be
did that
compared
a
to
lot.
Block, Robert Block would be a great Block to be compared to. He's a genius. He's a genius. You're good too, but
I'm not quite up there.
Robert's a genius. Joe's good too. And then we have Rob Conley. There's no way Rob will win this, so we just included Rob for our older demographic. Apparently a lot of the chicks that watch our show, all what we figure out, Eric, 3 of them, 5 of them, they all rate Rob very highly in the and then speaking of a really dark horse candidate, Glenn Hallstrom, who can't even get his computer to work, so he's out of the running, I think. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm not going anywhere. But we have an incredible show tonight. We're going to do our year-end update. We've done all kinds of different things over the years, our year-end wrap-up show, and this is we're just gonna kind of go where the audience wants us to go. So ask us questions, talk about stuff. We're obviously going to do this year in Gaming Stupid, which we have there's a clear-cut winner, but we'll discuss other candidates just to be fair. But there's obviously a clear-cut winner.
It's preordained, is what you're saying, Mike? Is that what you're saying?
I just I just don't see anybody.
I got
else.
money on it. I got cash right now, hard cash on it.
We can't. Nobody can rise to the level of stupidity of our main candidate. And but yeah, thanks for coming, guys. Evening to everybody. I hope everybody had a great Christmas.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I got lots of nice things from my family this Christmas, including from my youngest son.
Nice. Hold on, Rob. We're gonna start out with the solo layout of Rob.
It's a castle. It's a dice tower. There, nice.
Well, I know it doesn't bode well for the evening. I rolled a 4.
Oh dear.
Oh boy.
That's not a hit.
The neat thing is he has a four filament feeder, so he did this. He printed this out in one shot.
Oh, great.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't know, it's hard to see, but it's actually a little winding stairway, like in a medieval tower.
Oh, nice.
I tell you what, I ran across another one of these today, and I had to buy it because I just had the feeling that these things are going to be hard to find eventually. So they're a GameStop exclusive, and these are the coolest thing ever. The little light, the fire lights up. You put it back there, and it comes out of his butthole. It rolls out there, and so it's really very well made. And so I've been trying to buy them whenever I find them because they're GameStop exclusive. I figured that in a few years. They're like $30. I figured a few years, I don't know. I'll probably end up giving them away or using them as raffle prizes for North Texas, but they're just so cool. I can't.
What you got there?
Pass them up.
This is what they call a book nook.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Those are really cool.
I got this 2 years ago, but
Oh wow.
Yeah, so you slide this in your shelf with all your books.
Oh, that's pretty
Nice.
cool.
Yeah, it's pretty
Very
cool.
nice.
hide your keys, money, and dice in there. Special dice.
Hide your keys, hide your wife.
Money, hide your dice.
Yeah. So now Mike wants to show off Shadow Dark, which we certainly will.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of
Oh,
so Christmas presents, yeah,
yeah,
that's I want to show that
mine
off. That was
was
my.
my Kindle Scribe. So.
Oh, nice.
And I just to waking up was fun to do. I started putting on RPGs, and such as of course, you know what? It doesn't work.
You turned invisible.
Background.
I think you got a ring of invisibility because you did went invisible for a second.
But
oh yeah, look at that.
Stuff like
very cool.
Dragon Slayer looks really good. It's not good. I don't.
It completely disappears.
It's called a green screen for a reason, Eric. If you,
I know, but listen,
if you try to use this AI bullshit,
you know what?
I can demo
I do this in my living room, so you know it's gotta work as best it can.
So this is a regular Kindle Paperwhite, and Shadow Dark is like crystal.
Oh yeah, it looks awesome on it. It really does.
Crystal
nice.
clear. And not to toot my own horn, but my Majestic Fantasy RPG book also looks pretty good on this too.
Oh my god, this is going to be him plugging his Majestic Wanderings all about it.
RPG is a
Here's
good
a good example. This is a smaller font.
It looks really.
So,
and by the way, I actually started rewatching the live play that Matt Jackson ran for my group. And holy shit, it's entertaining. But
that's the one I had to chase after.
I want to show this.
I only got half an hour through it. Just the character generation blew my mind. All right, Mike, you got the screen right now.
I got this. I got Shadow Dark today.
Right.
A lot of people did not know the books were somewhat digest-sized. This is very cool. Oh my gosh! Look what we have here.
Actually, they're not
big print for old people.
Yes,
big print for old people that can read. I love it. This is so cool. And so I got the deluxe package. I also got the DM screen.
Oh, the DM screen is awesome.
Yeah. I got the Curse Scroll 1 and 2 and 3, which are magazines about Shadow Dark, little zines. You know how much I love zines, obviously. Mm-hmm. And then I got I don't guess this is a mini dungeon. And then
there's 5 one-page dungeons.
Okay. And then I have this,
and there's pre-generated character cards.
Wow, this is really nice, guys. As much as we already gave Kelsey kudos.
She's much more generous with the dice rolling than Matt Jackson was. I will say that.
These are really nice. So I'm gonna say run, not walk. When Shadow Dark, the book is available. And some of you I know just got PDFs and may have printed them off. I think the quality is amazing on this. I mean, this is a thick, heavy, beautifully embossed book.
That's the special edition of the collector's edition. Yeah. I've also got the regular edition. So it came. Really nice. I got. So I'm going to give it, not tonight, folks, but we are going to give away after OSR Christmas wraps up, probably in a week or so. We are going to give away on this channel, Shadow Dark, the regular edition standard hardcover, and issue 3 of the zine because they sent me 2 copies.
Oh, hey.
Cool.
I shall.
The paper size is A5 if you print it out.
So let me just
not digest. It's A5.
A5. Okay.
So let's go around the table. So I have Shadow Dark physical and PDF. Eric has it. Rob has just a PDF. What about the rest of you 3? Did you all purchase Shadow Dark?
I do not.
I did not.
Did not get it. You guys did not get it.
I'm done buying new systems. I
got you. I understand.
I only play one. I finally realized I'm never going to play anything but AD&D.
We've been in such big development with open worlds, and then with Tim on his involvement in it, just have had no time for anything else.
Yeah.
So,
well, I can say with Shadow Dark, it is a minimalist system. not. But the reason I got it is I looked at the quick start that it was already available, and it's a minimalist design, but damn, every part pulls its weight and then some.
Yeah. I mostly got.
It's just a marvel of good design.
I only play 2E and then BX, but that I figure you can use ideas from anywhere, and I like a lot. When I first heard her talk and heard her do a stream, I just like a lot of her ideas, and so I'm borrowing a lot of the ideas in there. And I can always use charts. There's tons and tons of D100 charts in here, like ocean encounters. There's just tons. I can always use stuff like that. So I borrow a lot from other people's systems. Even though I pretty much got down to where I just play 2E, and if I want to play the old D&D way, I play 2E. If I want to play basic, I play BX. I'll take an OSC module, but I'll just convert it to BX probably rather than just play OSC. So. I understand where you guys are coming from, but I get ideas from everywhere. I even get ideas from 5E sometimes. Not the great ideas all the time, but I do get some ideas sometimes. What I don't want to do, no. There's some. I think there's some interesting. I like some parts of 5E. I understand why it's so popular. Let's just put it that way. I do understand why it's popular, but not my cup of tea.
I've even stolen ideas from 4E.
Oh God.
The room goes
Eric,
silent.
kick him off.
Yeah, really.
He's done.
Yeah, story is.
Well, 5E has some 4E DNA in it. It really does. I mean, so the one thing I think is that they did right
I
for
already
5E.
knew. You don't have to sell me.
Well, the one thing I think they did right for 5E is they took parts from all different. They took the best parts from the different versions. They didn't force you into a system. They said, look, we're going to make a system. It's a patchwork of 4 different systems, and we're going to take the best parts out of them. So I think they made a very easy to learn game that has aspects of a lot of the older versions also. But it's not the older, obviously not.
The only thing I dislike
it
about 5E is, as a designer, it's the 20 level span, which is what a freaking bird. But everything else, it's pretty okay to work, even though I like my own better. But 5E wasn't too bad to work with. It's just coming up with 20 levels worth of stuff where anytime I wanted to play around with that classes and stuff.
Somebody said something about Dragon Slayer.
I didn't care for that too much.
If you so I saw the Dragon Slayer final product at a long con. If you like BX, you're gonna like it's Greg's house version of BX. So if you play BX or like BX, excuse me, or OSC, you'll enjoy Dragon Slayer. So that's kind of my sweet spot. That's my favorite con game. When I run a con game, I use BX because it's just so easy to run at cons.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys usually run? If you're going to run a con game, what do you guys usually run? I know Joe is going to run AD&D no matter what. It doesn't matter if it's a con game.
I'll run AD&D.
I run this.
Oh, okay. Rob runs his system.
Which is based off of Swords and Wizardry. It's basically Swords and Wizardry with a skill system and a few tweaks to the combat system.
So Joe's going to do AD&D, right? You're doing AD&D.
Well, also miniatures. I'm going to be doing 3 different miniatures games at Founders and Legends in March.
Which rules are you using?
I've got some house rule fantasy mass battle system, and I'm doing Ogre GEV, Ogre miniatures.
Oh, lovely. Love Ogre. That's awesome.
With actual miniatures?
Oh, yeah. Actual metal miniatures, no less.
Oh, metal miniatures. Even
This is
worse.
my Mark V painted. Transformer fans will recognize the paint scheme.
Bumblebee?
Devastator.
Devastator.
The Constructicons.
Well, that's one of the games we have. So we put a call out at the end of last year. There's 3 games I really wanted to run at the con that nobody ever runs. One was Ogre, and we have somebody willing to now to run an Ogre game because we've got the big Kickstarter version for North Texas. And Doug and I spent a whole day putting all the miniatures together. We played a session of it, and it's been in a box ever since. That's 5 years in a box. So I said, this is ridiculous. Someone needs to run Ogre at the convention, and so we're going to run that. I also want to run the Star Wars.
One comment about Ogre: there is a game on Steam that is a replication of the board game. So if you want some practice with Ogre, in GEV. You can buy that, and it's fairly good. I have it.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's nifty. I've used it.
Well, the other game was it's the Star Wars miniature game, because Doug also left behind like 100 miniature. He bought all these miniatures in anticipation we'd have this really big Star Wars miniature game going, and we played it like twice. We stuck the miniatures up, and we got the Death Star. We've got everything. We've got the big giant Imperial ship. So I got to call out. We haven't got anybody to run that yet. But then the other one that I wanted to run, because I have the Kickstarter. I have the ultimate Kickstarter. It's got everything. Is the Fantasy Trip, which for a lot of us that was kind of neck and neck with D&D back in the day.
Rob, reach for the shelf.
Rob's got it there. Rob's got it right there. Of course he does. Of course he's got it right.
Ooh, okay. Almost killed my Star
Oh
Wars.
yeah. There we go. Yep.
Hold on.
So that's a beautiful box. I've got that box too. Except mine's side by
And you feel like you really get your money's worth.
Oh, that was a nice sound, Rob.
Yeah.
Of course, I have some original stuff, but you get all these tokens, cover sheet. You get this nice little folder that you can keep stuff in,
Very cool.
Including.
So I'm looking. It looks like you've actually run this since you got it, Rob, or not?
I ran it once.
Oh yeah.
This is the dungeon that you get with it.
That classic Tullenkar's Lair, yes.
And so this all goes back in there.
Does it have like character sheets and all that good stuff too? Doesn't it?
Oh,
there, he's back.
It's
The one
Yes,
that's
I
the
am.
only. Glenn,
I'm back.
You get your VM screen.
Welcome back, Glenn.
Technicals,
So-
all that kind of stuff.
Tenkar, Tenkar has volunteered to run this. Are you still interested in running this at the GOM?
yes, I will run
Finish
it.
it. All right.
Yes.
I will
I
say
want
the
to learn
original
it.
rules are not included.
Oh, okay. Well,
And I got to say, after reading this, Steve Jackson did this one a lot better. It's a lot easier to understand. And finally,
oh yeah, all the beautiful, gorgeous, lovely maps and such,
Yeah.
and character
so I
sheets.
found these at a library book sale. Go figure. They were like $3 each.
I just figured
Oh.
we have all this. We have this stuff. I want to use it because it's made to be used, right? I mean, there's something to be said for collecting stuff and putting it in a box and looking at it and eyeing it. You know, and say it's awesome. But I'm getting to that
when you
age
have
where
stuff
I
like
want to
this.
use this. Yes, you got to use a giant monster. Of course you do. But yeah, none of those games have ever been run at the con before, and I figured this is 2024. We're going to have all those two classic games in one game we're just running because we got a lot of miniatures for. We'll run those at the con. So. But I've also heard from 2 or 3 other people, including I think Ty Beard said he might want to run a fantasy trip.
Really?
And a couple other people. So I would love to see fantasy trip. Fantasy trip is it's one of those missing steps of the game industry, and that, you know, at the time I remember playing, because we had the mini games. We bring the mini games to school. I remember playing it, and it just kind of dropped, you know, because of course it wasn't promoted for decades. It just kind of dropped out of consciousness. But it was a nifty little game. It really
Nobody
really,
knows
really
what happened to the owners.
Well, the owner was if you talk to people that worked for him, there's some funny stories about that dude. What's his name? Harvey Weinstein? No, not Harvey. I can't remember the guy's name, but he was a character. He was quite the character. Would not sell the rights to Steve Jackson for any price, or actually for a price that was outrageously idiotic. And so Steve Jackson just.
Hey, was
So
it
is
like
he-
Do you know how
100?
Steve Jackson got him back?
Well, he finally the rights finally lapsed, and so Steve Jackson got the last laugh on that
No,
and just got it
no.
back. So.
So he
No?
was
Well, what he
was
did was, in a fit of sanity, Congress, in the Sonny Bono Copyright Act, where they've extended the terms to 95 years plus the life of the author, they did include a provision recognizing the fact that when you're starting out, that you have virtually no bargaining powers with publishers or record studios or anything. They said that after 30 years, you can file and get your copyright back, no matter what the contract
Really?
you signed. Yes,
Nice.
There's a
That's
narrow
smart.
window, and it looked like Steve Jackson was just waiting for that window to open, and when he did, he grabbed it. He grabbed it
He
back.
jumped through.
Yes,
Yep.
very
So-
good. Well, good, because nothing was being done with it. That's great.
So this
Yeah,
guy
I'm
was a
just
character.
Pointing that out
Oh,
for anybody listening, that if you had that situation 30 years after you wrote that work, you can file it and get all your rights back.
What about the punk band I was in, and I wrote 2 songs for it? Can I get the rights back to those now? It's been 30 years. So.
No.
If you
Because
want.
Congress doesn't give a flying fig Newton about your what you may call it. punk.
About what? About Name Your Baby, the great punk band for the DFW in 1984. All right, whatever you say, Eric.
No, Rob,
care.
Rob, you said there was a narrow window. So I mean, it's not just any time after 30 years. It's like a very, I mean,
Yeah, it's like a 6-month video. You have to jump through some hoops to do it, but there's pretty much the other side can't. The only issue it would be if it was a work for hire.
okay.
Okay, but Steve had a contract, and he had a traditional contract, so he was covered. But if you were a work for hire, like say I work at a metal company that manufacturing metal cutting machines, I can't claim the software after 30 years because it would definitely work for hire. However, if you went up with the publisher, and as part of the agreement with the publisher that they get to own the rights to your stuff forever and ever for the duration of copyright, and you're not happy with that 30 years later, then you can recover it.
Yeah.
But you need to get an IP attorney and make sure every I is dotted and every T is crossed, because if they're not, they're going to fight you on it, and you won't win. So
Sounds expensive.
it can be, but it seems pretty straightforward. It's just exacting.
Well, in federal court's a nightmare to traverse anyways, in copyright law and trademark law to begin with.
I've
Or
heard federal
anything.
court's a nightmare. Eric, any comments on that? Or is
No,
that true?
it's just
Is federal court?
it's slow as shit. How about that?
They have
So
all kinds of
we're-
weird. They got a lot of weird nuances. Like in Michigan state court, it's pretty straightforward, but with federal court, you have to do all these weird things before you file motions. But then you can't file a motion; you have to do something instead. So yeah, federal court's just crazy
Yeah.
nightmare.
All right, so we're warmed up, guys. So let's.
Hold on. Now we have a few. I run sort of with Relight generally at cons, right? But
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot all about Eric.
this year
Eric,
I'm gonna do Fantasy Trip and possibly Shadow Dark, but so many people want to do Shadow Dark at North Texas. I may get pushed out of that. And Glenn is the Gangbusters specialist.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes, everybody raves about his Gangbusters game because you know why?
Well-
Because Glenn can do the voices. Yeah, see, I mean, I couldn't even. I mean, I'm sure being in a Gangbusters game with him is like going to see a movie at the theater in 1930.
I act. So, I'm the Gangbusters guy unless Mark Hunt's there. So,
and then there's 2 Gangbusters guys, with the bent noses and shit.
Yeah, see, we're gonna take out the bank robbers.
Yeah,
I mean, I could just. Yeah, everybody just raves about Glenn's Gangbusters, and then Glenn always goes, "Oh, I don't know if I can do it this year. It takes so much out of me." I'm like, "You got it, man. Come on, man. You want to be an actor? The
Which
audience
version of Game Buster? The original
what do you
TSR
I
version?
want to be?
or
I
the
am
newer
an
one?
actor.
Sam is
Don't convince me.
at this.
I mean, I'm on the verge of getting in trouble with Becky because I want to do another show.
Oh,
Your greatest moment. I heard you did Tiny Tim once, which I think is amazing that you pulled that off. Oh no, I'm sorry. No, you played Scrooge. I'm sorry, I got it mixed up. Tiny Tim would have been a no, I'm just Tiny Tim would have been a masterpiece.
I got out there with the ukulele. Tiptoe through
It's not that Tiny Tim. Oh
Well,
Yeah,
there's only one game that I would run, and that's Star Frontiers. But in part, that's a commitment to promoting more Star Frontiers play through the magazine. So, I mean, if I'm at a convention, I'm just going to run the one game. And a little shout out to Dawn, who helped out my my Patreon.
hold on. Let me give you. It isn't just solos for the others. There we go.
So we were getting these Streel logo stickers done, and he had to order new paper, and they sent him holographic paper. So he hooked me up on the logos, and the Streel ID cards
Those
are
are cool.
really gorgeous.
Very
And
nice.
I misplaced the one I signed somewhere on this message.
It sounds
Clean up
collectible.
my clean.
It'll be collectible someday when we find it. There you go.
Oh, the good wife had my ID card. Yeah.
All right, hold on. Put it up. Hold on.
Yep. So
Put 'em up,
I am
put 'em
an
up.
official Streel employee for the
Nice.
Streel Megacorp.
There you
And
go.
so special shout out to Don and Wizard Tower Games
Thanks.
for helping out the Patreon promotion. We gave these things out to all of the people who signed up in the first month of the Patreon in November. Got it off to a nice start. So I really appreciated Don's help with that.
Thank you.
Very good. So now we're warmed up, Eric. Now we're warmed up. Let's get to our main subject here. How much do we hate WotC, and why do we hate Watch so much? Oh wait, I'm sorry. Did I ruin the?
Did I ruin the
so-
punchline? Sorry, I gotta.
This was an amazing year, the lead up to the 50th anniversary of D&D, and it was amazing because we barely started the year, and WotC took out the biggest shotgun, bigger than Elmer Fudd's shotguns that he shoots bugs with, loaded it, aimed it right at their foot, and blew their foot completely off within 3 weeks, the beginning of the year. When did that start, Eric?
It
was
started in December.
Yeah, it was just it was kind of leaky in December, but the whole OGL announcement was when January. It was January, correct?
It was January.
Yeah.
So they blew their foot completely off. I mean, they didn't give us time to ease into the year. It was just from the moment the year started, it was, oh my God, what are these guys doing? I don't even have the patience to go through the whole timeline. The whole timeline's insane. I mean, it's just they canceled the OGL. Then there was like 2 weeks of everybody.
They didn't
screaming
cancel the
around.
OGL. They announced they were
Instead.
canceling the OGL.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, they
And
tried.
they
They
came out
they
with
now-
tried to
version
throw that out
1.1, and they say this is what we're going to want to do, and
And it's better for you. We're doing this for you. We're not doing this for us. We're doing
Yeah, there was
this
about 2 weeks of CYA, and then until there was utter capitulation. That you
Right.
know, which
no,
which
they
was
came out with 1.2, and then
well, but they didn't. But they didn't shut down the OGL. They just said you're not going to need it anymore. Why would you need the OGL? We have Creative Commons now. You don't need the OGL.
No,
There's
they did. I'm sorry to do this to you, Mike, but they specifically said that they were no longer going to offer the OGL. That was their way out.
right.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That they basically said, "Don't worry about it." But they also said you're not going to need it anymore. That was kept in the quote was you're not going to need the OGL. Why would you need the OGL? We have creative. You could just do Creative Commons, which is a cop out too, though, because there's lots of material written under the OGL that people don't want to have to convert to Creative Commons.
Well, it's not just WotC that uses the OGL. There are other companies that have they're using the OGL license and putting stuff out. And it says, I just happened to reread it with Dawn. It very explicitly says it's perpetual. And
Yes, but there was a series of copyright cases in the 2010s that having to do with a company. So there was a company who bought some software, but it was contingent on the service contracts, and the contract said that the company had the perpetual right to use the software, but they stopped the service, so it changed management or some bullshit like that, and they stopped the service contract but kept using the software, and so the company that sold them the software and the service contract sued them, and they said the court basically wind up said you need to put irrevocable, not perpetual, in there, and but it's not that clear cut, and it certainly doesn't pertain to. This is not like a copyright case like Wizards was doing. It was copyright adjacent. So, but ever since then, people started, Creative Commons people went, like that, and the GPL people went like that, and if you notice all the latest version of their software put irrevocable as
But-
well as perpetual in there, and that's because of these series of court cases. And the first court case that I just told you about, and the court case that relies on that.
Mm.
And so, but
that was their
it
out.
doesn't
That
speak
was their
directly
out.
to our situation, though. So,
Right.
But one of the big problems is that there's so many companies out there that are using the existing Wizards license in their product, and there's nothing within the existing license that gives them an out to use something like Creative Commons.
yeah,
So what ends up happening is when they say, well, suddenly we're going to do away, let's just say they cancel a license, whatever language you want to use. There's so many people using it. So what do I use now? And if they say, well, let's just use Creative Commons. Well, there's nothing within the existing license that, in case you cancel, allows me to use Creative Commons. So,
and there's a lot of, I guess, first person license out there. For example, the Traveler SRD,
yes,
the Legend, which is like a RuneQuest clone. I put about Mongoose. There's that SRD. There's Fate, even though Fate is dual licensed, always has been. But if you use the OGL version of Fate, that the only mention of copyright by Wizards in there is the fact that the license text itself is copyrighted by Wizards. But yes, by Wizards, by saying we are no longer offering these licensed, all that material gets kneecapped, and
Plus, the issue
So-
with using the Creative Commons is that, let's say I want to use something that's in Creative Commons, the entire thing that I publish has to then be in Creative Commons. I can't just use one monster. What I publish,
Well,
because it's got.
you would have to,
reciprocal
Joe,
license.
you'd have to have it within the game itself, another license that you write that basically removes other work that's by you from the Creative Commons, and it becomes a real big nightmare, because then it's like, well, you weren't specific enough within your secondary license, with the primary license being used for content by Wizards. You'd have to break it up basically into several different. You have to have the primary Creative Commons license that you utilize for Wizards content. Then you have to have a secondary for your own content. But the problem is the copyright and the trademark courts have already made decisions. And, Rob talks about the 2010 cases. There was a 2016 case also that involved dual licenses. And the problem is when they can cancel each other out if they contract with each other, or they conflict with each other. Excuse me. So this whole thing with the OGL and what Wizards was doing was going to create a nightmare beyond nightmare for creators.
Yeah.
But Eric and I,
but-
every lawyer that we know and that talked to said that they were going to win this case. They said that, as a matter of fact, it was going to go to court. It was all ready to roll. Behind the scenes, they had a publisher willing to be the person that would publish, and they had lawyers. Just think about all the lawyers that Eric and I know. Let's just put it that way. Every one of them said, yeah, we're going to win it. Now it's going to cost a lot of money, and it's going to be, lives will be lost, and time will be this and that. But the fact that, and I think Kevin had put it up there, which is great, is that they can get Ryan Dancy on the stand, say, what was your intent with this law? And his intent was this. Now, that may not mean anything to some people, but it would mean a lot under certain circumstances. This is what I meant to say.
This is where I have to disagree with one thing. I know what lawyers say. I have a trademark and copyright lawyer, and she has warned me about stuff like this. About it's one thing for an attorney to look at it and go, I can tell you right now they're going to win. But the problem is when you get it in front of a jury, you're dealing with 6 to 12 people that you don't know. Hidden within that jury could be that one person who got screwed in a copyright something, and they lost their stock 30 years ago because of it. You don't know.
Right.
So,
That's the same in every case, though, Don. That's
absolutely. That's the
Okay,
problem. When I hear lawyers go, "Don't worry."
Yeah, but here's
not gonna
the thing.
lose.
With this situation, there were a number of publishers, which we can't name, but a number of publishers were already pledging money toward the kitty to pay for the law firm that was going to move forward with this. So now, again, I discounting my current legal situation, I have served on numerous juries,
You discount
and
it?
juries. I served on one where I was a foreman, and I got yelled at by the judge in the end because it was a civil trial, and we were hung. We were hung 4-2. Civil, you only need 5-1. We were hung 4-2. Why were we hung 4-2? Well, the New York City police sergeant at the time, I was getting paid my full salary. The corrections officer was getting paid a full salary. The New York City school teacher was getting paid a full salary, and the New York State telephone employee. We were all getting paid our full salaries. We had two
We
office
did.
workers that worked in Manhattan, lived in Queens, and after jury duty had to go to their office for at least 4 to 6 hours a day to keep their work going because their work didn't stop when they were away.
Oh my God.
So they flat out told us. They told me, "Listen, I don't care. I need to go back to work." So when the judge told me that the jury was dismissed without the thanks of the court, I asked the lawyer what that meant. It was the judge was telling you, "Fuck you." And he said to me, "It's my a Southern judge up in New York. It's my understanding that you are an officer of the law, that you are actually a supervisor in our farm police department, and you're telling me that you cannot convince at least one further juror?" I'm like, Your Honor, no, I can't. So, I mean, people have their own reasons, their own.
Yeah.
The jury system is far from perfect, but it's the best.
Yeah, but don't discount something else, Don and Eric too. Is that you have they don't like these cases to go to court because you hate the underdog against the
Right.
big corporation, which is what the lawyers are going to pull out right off the bat.
Well,
Look at these poor little these companies with 3 people trying to make a living, and look at this gigantic multi-million-dollar corporations trying to crush the dreams.
Well,
Isn't that? I mean, in the end,
Time out, Mike. That sounds like something that's currently going on that we know is total bullshit. I'm just saying. It's got initials, and yeah.
I smell
you can
something.
punch down.
I smell
You can
something
punch
in the
down.
air.
Come on,
That's
punching down.
something.
Okay, hey, I want to
Mike
address
said
something.
it's true, but Mike said it's true until it's a WotC case against an upstart that squatted that everybody wants to see be a bug.
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. Now there you go. So Tom's got that right. Is that there's sympathies, and that's a lot of reason. Isn't that why WotC backed this off? Because they were just getting freaking hammered. I mean, the court
Well, I
of
think it
public
was
opinion.
more. I think it was more a PR
Bad
thing with
decision.
them than it was.
Yeah,
a legal
PR.
thing.
I absolutely agree with you.
Yeah.
Don. I absolutely.
Yeah.
And they were getting. I mean, when you have Jenny D side by side with James Raggy and Pundit, I mean you've fucked up. Right, you've done something incredibly wrong when you've got the cast of characters they had against Watson. You've absolutely united, Mordor and and the Shire. I mean, that was the biggest. That was probably the dumbest part of it. Is they managed to piss everyone off. Of any race, creed, color, nationality, extraterrestrial. I mean, whatever. They just absolutely everybody just.
I just
gagged.
want to say that I think the hobby is going to be better off for it because people are looking. Before we just used the OGL. We just cited. We're doing something D&D adjacent. We look at the D20. We went to the D20 SRD and then later the 5R SED and did our thing, but now people are really looking at this whole game mechanics can't be copyrighted, only their expression. And while it isn't the happy land that everybody thinks it is, it's still we're seeing a lot of truly independent, but still D&D related stuff out there. So we don't have to. We can stop worrying about what the latest crew of Wizard wants to do with the brand. Because whatever objections or problems you have with Wizard today, it's all going to happen again 10 years from now when the next batch gets in. You know,
Well, you're very right, Rob. And I think one of the good things that's come out of this is all these creations of new systems. Because now you have people saying, well, I don't want to do what WotC's doing anymore because I don't trust WotC, which you shouldn't. You shouldn't trust WotC. And so you've got Wolfgang Barr's system. You've got all these new systems popping
Shadow
up that
Dark.
Shadow Dark, Dragon Slay. I mean, just everybody. Everybody's got their own system now because they don't want to just say we're going to do another 5e clone because we saw that they don't want to put all their eggs in that basket. Which is actually, you're right. That's very healthy for the hobby. That is very healthy for the hobby.
And the other thing is by putting the 5e SRD under Creative Commons BY, that's going to, over the long run, bring in more people because a lot of people didn't like the fact that they have to open up their game mechanic under the OGL. Because anytime you do something off the D20 SRD, most of it has to be open. Not all of it, but most of it will have to be opened up. But with the Creative Commons BY, if you don't want to share, you just put that credit in the cover, and there is no license with it. Just use it and just credit Wizards, and you're good to go.
Yeah, but Peter Pham reminded me that even Critical Role stepped back 5 feet. We're gonna let you go with this, WotC. Good luck. It sounds great. And now they have their own game, which has got terrible reviews, but whatever. It's still it's something different, and that's good for the hobby, really. To have
Critical Role fans are fanatics, anyways.
Yeah, they're going to buy it. Well, I mean, the ones I'm seeing not like it are Critical Role fans, which shocks me because it really, apparently is not that great a system. What I've read, the reviews are pretty scathing. But
There's no system.
No, it's not as bad as MCDM or whatever the hell that garbage is, but it's pretty bad. That's truly the system.
You don't want to play a
not
tactical RPG?
I thought to play.
Isn't that what you were just extolling the benefits of the fantasy trip over there? Isn't that a tactical RPG?
Oh no! I said
the original tactical RPG.
Fantasy Trip is great. It is a time capsule of what gaming was like in the 1980s. I'm not saying it's a great game. It's not, but it's a time capsule of what we were doing back in the late 70s and early 80s. Why is
I like other things better.
I don't think Hero Quest's a great game, but it's fun. It's just something. It's something fun to play that we used to play back in the day. It's nostalgia, is what it is. And the Fantasy Trip to me is nostalgia because that's something we used to play. I would never start a Fantasy Trip campaign now. I wouldn't. I have no desire to ever do that.
Yeah, I would play it at a con.
Yeah, it's a great con game. It's a great con. So no, I don't think it's that great. It's just it's fun to have nostalgia. I mean, somebody would do a Bushido game. I'd play that. I think that was a terrible system too. But I love the setting. The setting was great. It was if you could find somebody to run it, God knows where you'd find somebody to run it. Maybe after Shogun comes out next year, it'll have a resurgence. And people want to play Bushido. I don't know.
Shogun. Are they redoing that thing?
Yes. Yes. You didn't see the commercials, Glenn? Yeah, it's coming out again.
What's coming out again?
Shogun. They're doing a new version of Shogun after 40 years. So get ready. Get ready for Shogun.
Version after the
Shogun Mania.
I think they did it once after
Shogun 2. Tom Cruise returns.
That was a Shogun-ish movie. I don't think that was actually Shogun though. That was
Shogun 2 Electric Boogaloo.
That was Tom Cruise trying to be tall again when he's only 5'2". He was trying to pretend he was tall.
5'2".
So he had to go to Asia, and he had to. Yeah, no, I shouldn't say that. But anyway. He's tall. He's tall there. He's tall there. He did great.
You're canceled.
I know. I ruined it.
Apparently, the Candela Obscura uses the basic Geist mechanics of Blades in the Dark, but it's not quite a clone, but that's what everybody's upset
about. Right. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Well, that would mean giving credit where credit is due. And
just an MCDM borrow something too from somewhere, something. I don't know.
Well, we don't know. I don't think there's much of the rules.
I just love it. So I want everybody's opinion. So Eric and I just absolutely torched MCDM. But my thing was, I would never back a game that's going to take 2 years. They're basically telling you it's going to be a year and a half, which means 2 years until you're going to see this game. And as much as I like the dude, I mean, I just don't.
Well, I got to jump in here. Come on, didn't they have it written already? Aren't they playing it now?
No.
What the
No,
hell?
Rob, no. That's what's so crazy about this thing. No, it's not written.
This is a hope and prayer Kickstarter for $3
This is a
million?
Kickstarter. This is a Kickstarter from 2010, basically, Rob. When basically people when the wandering wizard had an idea about he wanted to do a game about dwarves and got $40,000 and he pissed it all away, obviously, but didn't know what he was going to do. He just had a game. It's going to be about dwarves. People said,
I'm going to do my Into the Majestic Fantasy Realm all wrong because I wrote up 4 maps for it. So I should have printed out the whole thing and said, "Hey, back me for $3 million. I'll fill out this entire continent." This would be what the Waterlands of the high fantasy should have been if Judges Guild stayed in business. Come on,
missed your opportunity. I mean, that would have been great 15 years ago when you didn't have to have proof of life. Nowadays you have to have pictures, you have to have artwork, you have to have everything done except really even the artwork. I mean, you got to show the artwork, you got to have a video, you got to have say the rules are ready to go. You got to have all this thing done. It's just amazing. It just blows my mind this day and age. That's why the Kickstarter like that would get as much money as it's gotten for something that's basically an idea still.
Yeah, well,
I wonder if it'll come out before Weird West.
Far West is out in PDF. Far West is out in PDF. Not very impressive. Do I think I'm ever going to see my printed copy? No, not actually.
But it look. You know what, Eric? Sometimes you are a little too demanding. I mean, it took 7 years. So what? I mean, 7 years.
No. Mike, fuck you. Okay, wasn't 7 years. Wasn't 7 years. All right, it wasn't 7 years. It was.
I'm sorry.
Let me figure this out. How long?
That's so many years that I got it mixed up. It's so many years. I
just celebrated my 12th wedding anniversary. 2 days before my wedding, I took the picture that turned into the Red Hand of Fate. It was due that December. It was due to ship December of 2011. So it was just short of
10 years, 7, 9. I mean, it's creative process is very.
Once you get past a certain point,
the creative process. You can't put a time limit on the creative process, Eric. Come on. By the way, somebody reminded me. So we had the OGL kind of screw up there, and then anybody else would have said, hey, that was a pretty massive mess up. But what Wizards
hold my beer again?
Yeah, they just said hold their beer to themselves and just kept. And so the whole year was a continual process of basically just absolutely stepping on their dick because then they had the Pinkerton fiasco, which was just another. That was another just absolute PR disaster where they sent Pinkerton agents to collect magic cards from a dude's house, which I guess the guy had never watched an episode of Law and Order. You don't have to let Pinkerton agents in your freaking house.
I would have told those jokers at my door, get off my property in a flat minute.
This was the guy who would accidentally send something too soon.
Right.
Yes.
And the Pinkertons were like harassing his neighbors on a Sunday morning. It's just.
We did find out the Pinkertons still exist because a lot of us didn't even remember that Pinkertons were still a thing, and they're still
Pinkertons are still a thing. I ran that across reading news periodically. It was like, God,
I don't know. Games Workshop has been giving them a run for their money in a couple of times. What they're doing with this new edition, and they put their army builder behind a paywall, and they charge one of their boxes they ended up charging like $18 a figure or something.
I think that's
crazy.
I think the difference there, Joe, is that Game Workshop has really been knowingly pieces of crap for kind of a while. I don't think anybody thinks
Rocky hasn't.
Well, not to this extent. Not to this extent. They haven't based. I think they always had the good. they had the goodwill of the fan for a long time, and they lost that goodwill of the fan. Games Workshop has not had the goodwill of the fan for years and years and years.
They're going to get it back when that TV show comes out.
But they're like drug dealers. Like a drug dealer who's an asshole. You're still going to go to get your drug.
Yeah, Games Workshop fans are terrible.
My hometown hobby shop now has a wall of Games Workshop. It pays the bills.
You got to need a
relationship with Games Workshop.
I gotta have some Skaven, man.
Got any of those ultras?
Now,
they're the worst fans ever because they hate it until the new kick-ass armies come out and they run in the store with $5,000.
And I have to confess, I actually bought something from Games Workshop. Oh, this is another Christmas present, a better way of holding the brushes. But no, they had some really nice brushes. And I bought them. They have one called. They have like literally the smallest brush I ever seen called Insane Detail, and I think I gotta have this because there's nothing more than I hate than doing the little pieces of jewelry and the dots for the eyes.
Rob, the weird thing isn't that you have all this stuff. The weird thing is that you don't have to get out of your chair to put it on canvas.
It's all right there.
Okay.
Anything, and you'll just here it is.
There's the secret.
Yeah.
Even though it's all badly pixelated because
this is my one Games Workshop purchase.
I at least have to go across the room.
I do the same thing with my Blu-rays. So
all right, $7. This was a worthwhile purchase. Okay, but
bring it closer.
All right, closer. Here we go. The paint handle, and it grabs multiple size bases. It's $7. It's really, these are worth it. Honestly.
Wait. Did that do it without glue? That it like grips it?
Yeah, it grips it.
Oh wow, very cool.
Yeah.
You know what? I can get behind that because right now what I do is I have a popsicle. I have a popsicle stick and I paint the base of my figures with Mod Podge.
Yeah. they make those gripping bases for like I do studio scale models for people. And I have a large one on my bench that I can actually clamp a studio scale X-Wing in, and I can rotate it and move it as I paint it.
When I was at Historicon this year, there was a company that was selling those kinds of things, but they grip popsicle sticks. So you can have a popsicle stick with a whole bunch of figures on it, and the thing will grip the whole base of them, so you can paint them all at once, which is great for
paint the squad.
Like historical minis.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah.
Or you realize you haven't painted your miniatures for 40 years and it's time to get cracking. Set up a production line of all your old Grenadiers and Raw Parthas.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
This is why I switched to tokens.
This is why I just use theater of the mind, even with my VTTs. Jeez.
So this is how bad I am. This is how bad I am at painting minis. Look at how old these freaking things are. Joe knows how old these are.
When the hell are you buying stuff at $229?
83, 84?
No, this is the 70s. This is the 70s.
Oh,
these are the old these are the old minifigs. Yeah. So that's why I've been selling my minis this year. I probably put a couple hundred up for sale because this is ridiculous.
And I've got the 15 millimeter. This is a hobgoblin. I'm in the middle.
Those are the armies. Yeah, the army. Yes, they had the army line.
So I bought my way out of my problem. Somebody sold their collection. So I have all the minis I need now.
Gracious.
And I have them all bagged up and carefully.
I've got a plastic. Oh, I've got so many minis.
Wrote it up on the tub to know where I can find it. Although my trolls seem to be AWOL at the moment.
Oh, those little trolls are tricky little devils. So we're gonna do our OSR Christmas thing, Eric. But after we come back, we have an hour.
Oh, I have that.
We're gonna go over what WotC did. We're just gonna go over the time. We don't have to do the timeline either. We'll just pick out our favorite WotC moment of the year. I want to talk about what can they do in 2024 to either come back or just to bury themselves deeper, because
I don't know if they can.
I don't think they've hit the bottom. I think there's
no. They got more to go
with the computer stuff. They've got Ways to go.
Oh. All right, Eric.
Yeah, but before we do the OSR Christmas, I want to point one thing out. Okay, they're not the only company that has literally stepped on their dick. I'm going to say that Kobold Press had one of the best working titles for a game that people were all getting excited about. Black Flag. That sounds great.
Very
Yeah,
much
Black
so,
Flag.
yeah.
And you know what? No. There's Tales of the Valiant, which sounds like a comic book strip from the 40s and 50s. All right.
Prince Valiant.
So now, have you noticed?
or that
It's
cartoon about
Black
the pigeon.
Flag Gaming, Tales of the Valiant, because they know that's what people wanted. That's what had the image.
But to defend Kobold Press, they could have gotten a C&D over the name of that game over that one series on TV, the pirate movie series.
Oh,
Pirates of the
Oh,
Caribbean.
that was Black Flag,
Pirates
right?
of Dark
Well,
Water.
it was more than a black. It was whatever. I know what you're talking about.
Black
It's
Flag.
Yeah.
Black Flag.
Yeah, I think the name was real similar, and I heard indirectly
Black
that
Sails.
Kobold-
Black Sails. that
Black
was it.
Sails.
Black
I
Sails.
heard that Kobold Press got a C&D,
Oh boy.
basically saying go ahead
Interesting.
and try it, because Black Sails has a game they're developing, an online game.
Hmm. Well, that would explain a lot. Then that is actually a really good explanation. I think it's made sense. I've heard. All right.
I'm clicking on the
Look, it's a
screen.
giveaway tool. It's
Yes.
that incredibly kick-ass giveaway tool.
So as we do the giveaway, I'm going to put something up on the bottom of the screen, folks. And again, we don't do sponsorships here, so there's no money being exchanged. But this is the site for Glenn, Old Man Grognard's. His wife has a blue rooster. It is basically dried spices.
Honey, give me some stuff.
Yes. So
I got to show it on camera.
Tenkars-Tavern.games, Blue Rooster. Go there, 75% off to the end of the year. I just bought another stash, and I might have to buy more because Rachel told me the stash that I bought I cannot give out. She's like, we need it. I'm like, you already have some. She's like, you can't. So I'm just saying, good stuff. Best. Their garlic is to me as flavorful as fresh. So
I want to win this. Let me enter a comment. Hold on.
Okay.
She don't.
So what we're giving
She's still
away
filling
with it, Eric?
bottles.
First giveaway is a PDF bundle of issues 1 to 3 of Wizard Funk. It's an OSR zine from the Dice Bros. So I am going to start collecting comments right now. We got 51 people in the live. Only 23 of you have commented. So come on.
Yeah, come on, man. Wake up.
Odds are good. Mario, Evil DM.
Mario Evil DM gets Wizard Funk.
Tenkars.tavern@gmail.com. OSR Christmas in the subject, and in the body say, hey, this was the Talking Crit, and I got the Wizard Funk. I'm actually
A lot of us do.
I think they call that different. They call that the cons. It's called something else, but yeah.
What? Funk?
It's just funk, yeah.
Yes. All right. Also from Thad, OSR stickers and Barrel Maze patch. This is going, I believe, worldwide. This ships worldwide. So,
yes, the Barrel Mage patch is very cool. It looks very, very cool. There's actually a Dragon Slayer patch too, by the way. It hasn't come out yet, but I saw it. It's nice.
Perfect.
Oh, well, good thing it's worldwide. It's going to the UK.
Yes. Dave, you know how to get in touch with me. All right. PDF copy from On the Tabletop of Holmes and Clark, which is essentially a fantasy heartbreaker built off the Holmes rules. There's also an adventure and some other goodies that come with this. It's all in PDF. So again, it's worldwide.
Worldwide.
It's wide in the world.
I didn't see my name. James Eck.
Yay!
James,
Congratulations, Jen.
Tenkars.tavern@gmail.com. OSR Christmas in the subject. And then say, hey, the talking crit, and what you got? You got the Holmes and Clark. Because even though I did a great job keeping my records up to date, my computer crashed and I hadn't saved them.
Oh, dude.
I was very pissed.
I'm not writing any of this down. I haven't been writing one of these down.
I have.
Because you can watch your own video later and get this. I mean, this is going to be on your video later.
I have. That's
Okay,
how I had to fix this shit. It's like, ugh. All right. From James Mishler Games. It is a set of 12 PDFs for Shadow Dark from James, as well as the setting, the Isle of Eldasor for Labyrinth Lord.
James' stuff is great.
Yeah, James really is quality stuff, and he's just a
good thing.
Sweetheart of a guy.
I want to win this.
Woo-hoo!
James wins
Jim
this.
Raggy. Jim Raggy, yeah.
Yes, I heard of this guy.
You think?
I know this guy. I saw this guy last year.
All right.
This year.
Last giveaway of the night is a $10. I always want to say RPG now. $10 drive-through RPG gift certificate donated by the viewers like you. This is kind of like when we become
Thank you.
It's like PBS.
James
We're like
Beck is saying
PBS.
to draw again.
James, let's draw again. All right.
Yeah.
So this is a redraw for James then.
Okay, James' withdrawal. This is the James Mishler set.
The K5K.
With the James Mishler set. So now we'll have the $10 drive-through.
All right.
Go.
The $10 not RPG Now gift certificate.
Use it to buy some Star Frontier stuff, guys.
Yay!
Bob
G.
G.
Bob G. Yay, Bob.
Congratulations.
Bob.
Yes, Bob's a good dude.
Yes. So,
By the way, I sent out my gift last week, so whoever, I can't remember who wanted it, you should have it. So it should be there by now. Or maybe not. I don't know. The Christmas holiday, we didn't have mail for one day, so maybe not. I don't know. Did you send out your stuff, Eric? Oh, you just had to. Oh, yours is all online. It wasn't mailed out, was it?
Glenn, I'm going to put up the shortened link, Glenn. Hold on a second.
All right, yeah.
That's
somebody,
why
one of the
I know
guys
somebody
asked
wants the
about it.
direct link, and I'm going to get that right now because that other link is just. So I'm going to give the short for those that my already shortened link isn't helping them. I'm going to.
By the way, 75% off. You put in the code startup75 in when you buy it.
When I was logging into the site, it was showing up automatically. It was a beautiful thing.
Good,
So,
good.
Glenn, I need that too because I cook a lot. I'm interested. So
it's right there. It's right there.
It's on the
I'm not writing that down. I'm
no, it's on the chat.
I just put it in the chat. I just put it in the chat.
Oh, okay.
Same link. You see
I'm still too
on
lazy.
the screen.
All right. I guess I can click a link. I guess. Jeez, guess make it so hard.
And here, before we continue, I'm going to put up another link because I was asked to. I haven't had a chance to. It's been busy. So, a friend of the channel currently has a Kickstarter, Cutthroats and Thieves. It's got about 2 days left, and it needs about another $600 in funding. So, I will try to get a blog post up about it. But in the meantime, if you go to the link that's on the screen, and I will put it into the chat, you can check out an interesting Kickstarter from a friend of the show. And then, and now we can go back to Mike hosting and causing troubles.
So I want to ask a question. So here's the question I want to ask everybody here, all my good friends here. All right. So here's the scenario: you stumble into a local store one Saturday night, about a week from now, and you put down $1 on a lottery ticket, and you win the Powerball. You $2 billion. You got $1 billion. Okay, you $1 billion. You just in a wild hair, you call up Watson, you go, I want to buy DD. They said, you know what, you can have it. We're tired of this shit. So I want to know what each of you will do to reverse what's going on. But you have now. Here's a caveat: you have to make.
Oh,
you have to still make money. You have to still make money. You can't just say we'll just. I know Joe can't say we're just going to republish first edition D&D. No. That's not going to keep your company running. You still have to make money. But what are you going to do to change things? We're going to start with Tom. Tom, you won the lotto. You just bought WotC.
Very complicated.
Magic's is going to stay how it is. Magic can do whatever it wants. You have control over the Dungeons and Dragons division now.
Dungeons and Dragons brand, you mean, and its IP.
Oh, Tom, you're on mute. There you go.
Yeah, I'm on mute. No, I would hire writers. I would get good writers who could write. I mean, there's nobody at WotC can write. So, I mean, the only way you're going to turn it around is to actually write good content that people want to buy. And, I probably would stop this all digital bullshit.
Would you stop it, or would you just say, okay, we'll do that, but we're going to still, because here's what's going to happen is they're going to go all digital and get rid of the print. And then
there would still
that's
be
a problem.
I'm a print guy.
Yeah. I think most of the people who play D&D are still print people. So I think that's a good.
But no, there would be, look, I get it. They have a warehouse full of unsold printed material. And that's because they wrote shit material. They need better writers who are going to write good quality adventures, and not adventures where you are role playing a barista in a friggin' coffee shop. I'm sorry, that is not that's not going to sell. Nobody wants to play Starbucks. I've worked a lot of places, but I've never worked Starbucks. I'm sorry. Nobody wants to.
And the thing is that they're probably using that as an excuse why they want to go all digital. Well, print's not just selling anymore. No, shitty print's not selling anymore. You're absolutely correct. But they can't say that. They can't even say that anymore because you have Kelsey selling $1.3 million worth of stuff. You have Dolmenwood, $1.3 million. You've even got people, you take one step down. You've got the Joe Blocks and the Greg Gillespies they're doing very well for an independent publications. No, you can't say it's just print's just not selling. It's not true.
Yeah,
it's absolutely not true anymore. All right, Don, you step into the Oval Office. You have control of D&D now. What are you doing?
Number one, I would get.
But you have to make money. Still have to make money.
Yep. Get rid of all upper level management who has no experience playing the game or using the game or understanding the game. Getting people in that know the game, understand it, have played it. Get in new writers, new creators. Stop this mealy-mouth in when you have a setting. Put everything in the setting the gamer needs instead of all these ancillary 15 different products that they're now trying to dump. I would expand my digital format and selling because that is easy money, but also coincide it with expanding existing 5e content. I would bring back, you said gotta make money. I would bring back limited edition AD&D second edition reprints of the game, which would bring people into it. And I would actually expand into bringing new gamers in by getting programs together for schools, educating newer, younger players, and getting them into the game younger by creating a D&D type game designed for the 7 to 10-year-old range.
Very
good.
Get them
into role playing very early on.
Yes.
I wish Don had invested some thought into this. He has
a list here. He's going down. He has plans for this. So Joe, you're in charge. You immediately they turned down your suggestion that we just start publishing first edition D&D.
Greyhawk.
They said we can't just do that, sir.
No. We're gonna do Greyhawk first edition. We're going to bring back every edition and focus it on one particular setting that did very well in that edition. So, in essence, if you're the first edition stuff would be Greyhawk, the second edition stuff would be Realms, the third edition stuff would be focus on a popular setting from those previous editions. Bring back the authors who made those editions and those settings, so popular at the time. I would keep the digital stuff as its own thing. So I'm already gonna have 5 or 6 fantasy games focused on different things with different mechanics. I'm also going to have my purely digital offering over here. It's not going to supplant or replace the print stuff, but it's going to be adjacent to it. And if I make, all of my EverQuest money over there, that's fine. I still get to have all the print stuff. And I would actually change my my production facilities. I would stop printing everything in China, and I would bring it all back to the U.S. But I would do it all POD. I would set up my own POD facilities, so I wouldn't be relying on Lightning Source. But that would also solve a lot of my inventory problems. If I can do very short print runs that become economical because they're all done in house, and and I'm not paying somebody else's overhead, then I'm able to do a lot more. I'm able to keep titles evergreen without having to have a warehouse full of them and worrying about how am I going to sell 5,000 copies of the Forgotten Realms gray box. I don't have to have them all in a warehouse somewhere. I can have 100 every time I need them.
That's what Troll Lord Games does, right? Yeah, that's why they have their own printing company,
Right.
And you could afford it. You just won the lottery. Just go buy a
Schubel and Son did the same thing back in the 80s. They were a play-by-mail game company.
Printing equipment is not expensive in the overall. Trust me.
Yeah, I mean they Schubel and Son did play-by-mail games in the 80s. They had their own offset printing press, and that's how they were able to make all this stuff for real cheap. It helped that they were able to sue Activision because they infringed on one of their copyrights, but one of their trademarks. But so be it.
All right, the capital to get the offset equipment they needed, and once they had it.
All right, Rob. So you walk in, they immediately turn down your idea of a LARP based on D&D, but you have other ideas.
God, I'm so misunderstood. Well, first of all, I would hire all of you as consultants, given the half of the ideas, because
paycheck.
The first part of it is the logistics of running the business. Since you have mandated that I still have to make money, I have to get that right. But so a couple things. First of all, I would make sure that I would reconstitute the original D&D Beyond team, and I would focus on licensing a digital interface to the IP that I own that you would have to pay a subscription for, but anybody, Roll20, I would not try to make my own VTT. I would still have like a D&D Beyond like website, but the whole point is that we have all this repository of our IP. We have a standard way of accessing. If you have a paid description as a user and your favorite VTT is set up to use it, then they can, once we validate the key, you can download all the classes and stuff like that. And so that part, kind of like what they're looking for, but it's not, I wouldn't try to second guess and, make my own VTT, because that's not going to be my wheelhouse. My wheelhouse is going to be make the best damn D&D ever. And just like Joe Block said, I would make sure that I would definitely open content all the rules. I would not open content the settings. Instead, I would use a community content program similar to what they have now, but it would include them all, the Greyhawk and the stuff. And I would work with Drive-Thru RPG to make sure that they have full access to the print-on-demand facilities as well. And of course, I would get rid of my bugbear, the no derivative clause. So if they want to publish their venture for, say, GURPS, I'm not going to complain about it. But if it's a Greyhawk adventure and it relies on Greyhawk IP, then they're going to be stuck. It's going to be tricky, but the whole focus is on here. This is D&D. It's not about anything in particular other than fantasy role playing, fantasy adventures, exciting adventures across time and space. You can spell jam. You can do all this, and then I guess for the actual release cycle, once the core books have been settled and straightened out, we would just have to hire, like you said, quality writers, and we would have seasons. 1 year would be Spelljammer, 1 year would be Greyhawk, and it wouldn't be like we try to have multiple competing lines like TSR did, but it just we refresh the adventure every year.
Mm-hmm.
And
Glenn, you walk into that office. What do you sit down? What is your plans? What is your plans?
Well,
for the
first of all, I would replace all upper management and make a ironclad rule that nobody with the last name Williams ever runs this company again.
It's just absolutely not allowed.
Not
Williams
allowed.
is off limits. You have to change your last name if your name is Williams.
Yeah,
You're gone. You're out.
but I would keep the digital and VTT, but I would give them an ultimatum: make this work or else. I would still be doing print books. I would like to take the game section and split it in two. OSR here, current edition over here. Current edition, we get some of the people who came up with Fifth or worked on Fifth, like Merles and things like that, to run it. Over on the OSR side, I would get people like Greg Gillespie and Glenn Seal, and the department head would be Jeff Talanian.
Oh, well,
That should make some money.
It's a dream team. Yes.
Yep.
Eric, I'm going to put you on the spot. What are you going to do? I know you have plans for this.
Oh yeah, I've got tons of plans. I've written them down. I've threatened TSR with it. No,
He's going to hire Gilbert Gottfried. Yeah.
Gilbert Gottfried will be in charge of the settings.
He will be the new president. And
everybody will love the Forgotten Realms because Elements will now talk like this and tell you exactly what's going on in your world. Actually, what I would like to do, and to me, this is starting small because you're not really disrupting anything that's actually being used, and it kind of builds off what Joe was talking about. I would take Greyhawk, which is the setting that I grew up on. Take the original folio, update it for modern times, update it for, I guess, the in-print system, and then make it open content. And make Greyhawk open content not just for modern players and OSR players, but they want to run it with GURPS, so they want to run it with the Fantasy Trip. Make it the default setting for fantasy RPGs. There's enough meat there, and if you open it up properly, it might, maybe you'd even, if you're trying to make real money, maybe you even go, well, hey, we'll license off areas that different companies can then run their live campaigns in, and have it be fully authorized. But Greyhawk is ignored, and it's very much underutilized. And if you play with the Forgotten Realms, you're going to have enough of the player base go, oh, you're blowing my mind. But if you go take Greyhawk, which has a lot of nostalgia attached to it, and very few current players in that world, you can bring it back and put life into it without upsetting the apple cart. And then you go around and you do things like kill Eberron and shit like that. Get rid of the Warforged. But I mean, before you do that, you've got to give them something before you start, balancing it out. And I think that would be a great way to get a setting back. Obviously, try to bring people into the company that know what they're doing when it comes to being creatives, not ones that fall in a category. It's like, oh, well, we need somebody that's in the age of 25 to 34. Do they fit this category? No, I don't care. I don't care. I want the best. If the best is Joe Block, Jeff Talanian, James Raggy, have at it. And here, I'll blow the minds. I'd even want not an NC-17, but I would want mature line, not the big boobs line. Okay, but I'd want the one that
Oh,
deals.
Book of
So
Erotic
the
Fantasy.
Venger's
You
not
should
being
do
hired.
that.
You say Venger
No,
didn't get
but
hired.
no, but Venger doesn't work. That isn't
Yeah,
big
yeah.
boobs that can still push the envelope.
Tentacles is what Venger's thing is.
Yeah, but you know what?
Yeah.
I like stuff where the horror needs a buy-in and maybe needs your players to sign a form before they play. Like, I won't be offended, and I don't need a next card. And I again a separate line compatible with the system, but not marketed directly with it. So you can allow that to be like a vanity publishing within the company. I like that idea.
How
Hey, it
about
works
this
for
instead?
DC.
How about just simply say we're going to put out our product?
Oh no, we can't do that. Not in this
We're going
world.
to avoid all the social politics. We don't care
What?
we don't care what the Twitter mob has to say, because no matter what, there's always going to be a Twitter mob pissed off no matter what we do. And we're going to worry about putting it together and putting out really solid, well done games. And if you don't want to play them, then I guess you don't want to play them. I mean, this is the minefield they've been playing with for a couple of years now. They've been jumping around, and this is why we have the problems we're having with D&D in general, is because they're doing all these knee-jerk reactions to, they're playing whack-a-mole with these people are mad, I need to whack this problem. Well, these people are mad, but the problem is you just whack this, which conflicts with this, instead of just saying, listen, it's a game, okay? No, ogres do not represent a certain class of people. Ogres are a fantasy character, just like drow elves are a fantasy character. So we understand you may not like that. Well, then maybe you need to play a goblin and an orc.
Well,
and if that upsets
John,
you,
it's the system. The current system we have is bad, no matter how you slice it, because there's only so many slots per year for anybody to be recognized. It doesn't matter where they come from, what ethnic background they are, or what social background they come from. There's so many slots. So somebody is always gets shortchanged. So the way the Wizards if I was the president of Wizards and had control to do this, I would emphasize it's not just open content because Rob's being ideal. I would emphasize the opportunity. I wouldn't just say, oh, here, open it up. Go ahead, have fun. No, I would institute like programs. This is how you can publish. This is, if you want a book, this is what you could do. And if you really have an idea that you want us to look at, here's how you do that too. But the point is that we emphasize the opportunity. Opening up Greyhawk like Eric isn't just about, having us old white gamers doing it. It's like opening up to anybody. You don't like the fact that, Gygax leaned too heavily in the pulp and the depiction of the, the jungle areas and stuff like that, then come up with something new, make it your own Greyhawk and show us your interpretation.
What have we said for years, Eric? You and I, we would buy the hell out of a jungle setting. That had and if you got a African American creator to do that, I don't care. I just want a kick-ass jungle setting. Do it. Do something like that. Do it. Do different things. So if I go the first thing I do is I would have developers for I go with Dark Sun immediately, because that's going to say everything I want to say. Because first of all, it's going to say in the rule book, slavery is bad. Slavers are bad guys. They're enemies. This is a abhorrent practice. These are your enemies, are these slavers. And so right off the bat, they're going to know this is not old Watsy anymore. And Dark Sun has continually shown over the years, over the decades, to be the most popular system they've never republished. Because they're
you got to do that. You got to do Dark Sun, but you got to support what not traditionalists like us, like what most people wind up liking. So Dark Sun is your season, yet you're supporting fully what most people generally like to play, whatever it is.
Absolutely, yeah. And I would have classic D&D, and I would have, I don't know, you call it new D&D, whatever. I would have two separate lines, like you guys have said, and everything. The earlier lines would be pretty much anything before 2000. The later ones be anything after 2000. But I would make each compatible. You would have 5e versions of each. You could play old school with Eberron, or you could play new school with Dark Sun. However you want it, I would make it with. If you have POD, the ability to POD, you can do that. It's not that hard. If you don't have, as you guys were saying, as long as you don't have a warehouse full of books you can't sell, you're going to be able to do that. And that's what modern companies are doing now. Modern companies are all doing that. They don't carry inventory anymore. Nobody carries inventory. That's so old school, and it's a bad way to do things. I would keep the digital. I think there is a certain segment that enjoys the digital. I wouldn't put all my eggs in the digital basket, but I think I would keep it.
And I would take Don's POD. I think it was you, Don, who said, get a POD house so you can do your own.
No, it wasn't me. It was Greyhawk Grognard.
Joe said that. Yeah.
So Joe, you had that idea of have your own POD house, but I would also figure out, use the prestige of my position to get that direct to the game store channel going. So, if they want 5 copies of the Player's Handbook, they can order it from me and appear it on their shelves, and I don't have to worry about warehousing and stuff. Because
you do have to worry about warehousing, and this is okay. I do printing. I have a print press. I do my own binding. This is your problem that you're running into. The idea of doing POD, you have a reverse problem. When you're going to China and ordering 50,000 units at a time, and they're shipping to you 50,000 units on several pallets, you have that thing in a warehouse. The problem with POD is you have to have in that warehouse, instead of books, you have to have the binding glue, you have to have the backboards, you have to have the paper, you have to have the printers, you have to have the all of your color sets. Like I use a 12 color press. And to refill the ink on a 12 color press is $6,000 to refill all 12 colors. Mm-hmm. That's for the ink alone. So your costs shift. Yes, I don't have to have a back stock of books, but I still have to have a back stock of product to make my supplies. POD books. The upside to POD is I'm not heavy in one product. So I don't have to worry about, oh my God, I have to sell X amount of Dungeon Master Guide, the new edition. It shifts to, I have to make sure that I keep my paper moving. I keep my paper clean. I'm rotating my paper. I'm ventilating it properly so I don't grow mold on it. I mean, there's a whole bunch of things that kind of shift in it. And
but Don, so with that in mind, and I'm sorry I glossed it over. I do realize
no, you're fine. No, you're okay.
Capital cost. But so the traditional publisher with the entire 5e product line, say like Wizards has, or even like TSR has. Let's say you go crazy and you're like TSR in the AD&D 2 era. If TSR had print instead, if Lorraine Williams set up a print on demand facility like that, and with all would have been cheaper for her to do that than to warehouse all those products and worry about returns and stuff?
Probably. This is the thing. The initial startup kills you, because you initially have to be very forward heavy in setup. You have to buy the machines. You have to buy and at a level
that I just won the lottery. I got
exactly.
all the
Yeah, exactly. You won the lotto. But the thing is, that's the whole point, though. I mean, no matter what, you are still front heavy in your investment. If you're a cash rich company, which I'm a $1 billion company now because I won the lotto, then that's not a big deal. WotC could also very easily do this. And this is the thing I don't understand about Wizards of the Coast, why they have not thought about this. Lightning Source does printing not only for Drive-Thru RPG. Lightning Source, anybody can go to and have Lightning Source do POD printing for them.
Mm-hmm. Lulu does it. Lulu uses them too. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, they do. But see, places like Amazon, they got smart. Amazon was using Lulu very early on through their KDP, but their KDP program, they were like, wait a minute here, why don't we just set up 3 major Amazon print houses throughout the United States? And what we'll do is we'll make the initial capital investment, and then we'll just simply print our own books, because very early on, Amazon started this whole, you can publish with us for free. you have no Mr. Author, and they were going off the small press people, the self-published people. Well, then the other people started getting involved, and it's like, wait a minute here, as a publisher, I could go to Amazon, but the reason why I don't go to Amazon is because people don't pay attention to the contract. And in the KDP contract, it basically says if we print and POD your book, and we catch you selling that book anywhere else, even on your own website, we can yank your print on demand. And so that's some of the things that people don't realize is that when you're low on the radar, print on demand is a great thing. So as a company, if you're going to publish your own works and say, I'm not going to publish for Joe Block, I'm not going to publish for Tenkar or Mike or Glenn, then yes, if you're going to do it strictly for yourself and you're willing to put that forward, if you're going to forward load your assets, then great, invest in it. I'm blown away. Wizards has not done this yet. I really am.
I have a question, Don, though, for you. How did you get your printing set up? You're kind of in the same.
I was basically with me I was going through like Amazon and I was risking it. And very early on, I had a publishing company back from 2008 to 2013. I had a publishing company, and I was part of these publishing guilds. And I found out there was a print shop down in Toledo, Ohio that was going out of business. So I drove down there, and they were selling stuff pennies on the dollar. So you were able to get your hands on a $30,000 binding machine for $700.
So you didn't win the lotto, but you did roll on that 20.
Oh, absolutely.
And you know what else this helps too is that's this way you don't have disruptions like everybody had except for Troll Lord Games when we had COVID and China wasn't shipping books for 12 months.
Well, you did have like I ran into a recent issue because the issue that I ran into was that we ordered paper from China because that's the only place you can get it. You can't buy if you're US based, you cannot buy US based from the US based mills. They only sell to China.
Mm-hmm. What, so Hammer Mill? You can't buy like Hammer Mill or
no? The Hammer Mill does not want to deal with small. I mean, if you want to buy roll paper, like as in the 12-foot diameter rolls, they'll sell to you all day long.
Yeah.
But see, the problem you run into issues like U.S. Customs. U.S. Customs, if they even get a whiff of something's up, they'll seize your shipment. And then it's sitting there in a warehouse and you finally get it. They've already cracked all the cellophane and everything, and it's been sitting on an outside loading dock, so it comes soaking wet full of mold or garbage. They don't give a shit. So it's a nightmare that you run into, but we just had a massive amount of games held up by U.S. Customs because my paper came and it was all waterlogged. And thankfully I quickly tried to, for D20 delving, I quickly tried to, say I'm going to be smart. I'm going to order from China. I don't want to, but I want to get my Kickstarter fulfilled. Well, the container got to Atlanta and they held it because they got a tip that there was something in the container. And technically it's still held. It's been up now for 9 months being held up by Department of Homeland Security because somebody called in a tip.
Luckily,
I think I know who it is. By the way, Tom, nice flipping shirt. I like that shirt.
Well, so we already had. So right now we just had more good ideas in 10 minutes than Watsy's had the last 12 months. So that's great. I appreciate that. That's awesome. So let's flip that a little bit. So next year is the 50th anniversary of D&D. I could ask you what you think is going to happen. I think because it's never what you think. I think I know what might happen next year, but I could be completely wrong. You never know. But I want to ask you guys, what is going to happen next year? Because they're coming out, they're going to make a huge push on this VTT. The digital that we're seeing more and more signs, more and more rumors, more and more inside info that this is the way they're going to go forward. That they are going to go full on online gaming VTT.
I can tell you what they're not going to do, and what I think, and it's the one thing they should do. It's the 50th, and Luke Gygax in his live earlier said something that was very true. You only turn 50 once, and sadly, I do not see them bringing back some of the classic, like a and I'm just going to throw AD&D out as an idea. Like taking AD&D's primary core books and putting them out in a limited edition set for 50th anniversary purposes.
Which everybody here would buy the hell out of. I know that we don't, because we sit here and go, we don't buy WotC products. I don't buy WotC products. But you know what I bought the last 10 years? I bought the gold books. I bought the Dungeons of Dread reprint. I bought the Slavers reprint. I bought that. That's the only WotC products I bought in the last 10 years. And
but
if
that's
you wanted to
that's
sell,
the one thing they should put out. It's a 50th, something anniversary, something classic, something to. I mean, great, they got your new stuff, but bring back something that honors the roots of D&D that they're trying to right now play on.
Or do it like they did for the 25th anniversary when they had the questionnaires that came out. What would you like to see reprinted? Remember that? Because remember they put all that into this. Now, see, I'm pulling a Rob Conley here. They put out all the classic stuff. So what's in here? S2, B2, I6, the G1, 2, and 3. This is the stuff they did a survey of. I sent in my survey and said, what classic adventures do you want to see reprinted for the 25th anniversary? And then they redid them, or they didn't redo them. They just reprinted them, put them in there. They could have done something like that. It's too late to do it now because we're on the 50th anniversary in 2 weeks or whatever. But that's something they should have done. What do you want to see us do? And I'm sure, like I said, I know the most requested world in the last however many years has been Dark Sun. Do a Dark Sun reprint, a 50th. That would be awesome. I mean, people would buy the hell out of that. Or do a B1 reprint. Do whatever you want to do. I know that there's already been reprints lately because they've done the Goodman Games did the big books. The really nice big books. They had the original printing and then the 5th edition printing. You could do better than that. Those are nice books, but those are not.
Wait a minute.
Vanity type press stuff.
They are publishing that the 3 little brown booklet, the book about.
That's right.
But they're not. Yeah. But they're being republished in the Peterson book, so they're actually going to be part of like a coffee table book. They're not being republished. It's not like the wood box that they republished the original,
which was great too. By the way, that was awesome.
Everybody that have my wood box right up there.
Yeah. That was a nice. That was very nice. I had to buy that because it looked great. And so do stuff like that. You will sell that stuff. That stuff will sell.
Fadus Live mentioned a foil cover rules cyclopedia. Yeah, I'd buy that.
I'd buy it. Yeah, I'd be there.
Yeah, they have. You can get it. Yeah, you can get it POD, but it's not the same. I mean,
do it upright. Do a beautiful anniversary edition, leather covered. I don't know, whatever. Yes, that's one thing they're not going to do, and it's really sad. And they're really gonna kick this to the curb. The 50th anniversary. I just don't think there's anything of any interest to the old school player here. I don't even know if there's anything of interest to the new school player, frankly, but there's definitely nothing of it. I'm not. Is anybody excited about the 50th anniversary? I mean, are anybody here like, man, I can't wait to see what WotC's going to throw out there? Is anybody here
I'm excited about the 50th anniversary. I'm just not excited about what.
Well, I think what they're doing is they're doing kind of the Apple phone principle. What we'll do is we'll kick out something, we'll call it new, and people will come and they will buy it because and I hate to use this term, but it's this drone thinking. Oh, something new. Get in line. Here you go. Get fed. Next. And that's what they're doing with like Apple, with the phones that come out every 1.5 to 2 years.
Right. They have to add something new to it. And it's something like, I know, I love the new Apple commercials. Titanium case. I'm like,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Whatever. Okay. Titanium. Yeah. Way to go. My Apple phone. Yeah. That's great.
You can tell the direction that they want to go in by who they've hired, right? From their perspective, the whole tabletop game thing is small potatoes to them. They're looking at a Blizzard level money, which means they're going for the VTT full throttle. That is their end game. That's all they want to do. Anything
I agree. I think a VTT it's not going to pan out the way they think.
I don't think so either, but that's their thinking. That's what they think is going to make them $100 million a year. Is all digital all the time, and anything else that is a distraction. That is their thinking right now. That's why they're firing their creatives. They're keeping all of their ex Microsoft people.
Yep.
Because that is the focus. That's where they think they're going to make a gazillion dollars.
But they're not.
That's exactly what I said.
But to be clear, they are hiring people to make a VTT with a DM and players and stuff. And it's not going to have the same appeal as Baldur's Gate 3 is.
But
they're
Rob,
not making software like Baldur's Gate 3. They're making a VTT.
I'm not saying it's going to work, Rob. I'm saying that's what they think.
Right. That's what. Yeah. Don't think about will this work. Think about what they are doing.
Yeah, because all you got to do is
go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I'm saying all you got to do is look at who they fired. That tells you right there they're thinking.
Don, you think just like me. Thank you. I mean, when we saw that list of people that were getting let go, what didn't you see on social media? Any of the VTT programmers?
No, that's obviously.
But,
it's printing
but
printers.
Who did get dismissed? Leaders at D&D Beyond. Now, you would think, at least the average person would think, well, there's got to be a little symmetry between those two divisions. There's not. Okay? From what we've heard, there is a power play going on between those two divisions. And I think it's obvious that the VTT is coming out ahead. So it looks like D&D Beyond is going to fall under the VTT. And that is where they are putting their Easter eggs. And
I got to say, I'm not impressed with who they hired for the VTT. I started checking some of these guys' LinkedIn profile, and they're like on mobile games. None of these are hardcore video gamers.
No, but Rob, why mobile games? Ask yourself that, because I know the answer right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Microtransactions.
Yeah.
This is already what they are hiring people who know how to do microtransactions. So you can buy your red cloak with my silver boots and look at my avatar, and I'm gonna they think
That's absolutely when they said that it's under monetized. That's absolutely what they're saying. Is that they're tired of one person buying one rule book. And what's the great thing about D&D? All you need is the rules. Like as Gary said, the famous quote: the biggest secret of all is all you need. Everybody just needs the rules. No, they don't want that. They don't want one person to buy what's
organized. Hasbro has given them a perfect model to follow because they have had enormous success with that phone version of Monopoly. It has made them a mint of money, and they want that kind of money for D&D. They want that coming out of
because what they want.
No, has it? I mean, I'm sure it shows up on their bottom line quite well, but the toy market tanks, and immediately Hasbro's in freaking trouble.
That's why they want to move out of the toy market. They want to move into.
And that's why they're dumping at Ollie's and stuff their product, because I think where they made the mistake is it's like they take a campaign setting, and what they try to do is they try to pull 10 or 15 micro books out of it, little 80 to 90 page books for $39.99 each. And they learned that was good for a while, but now they got all this excess product and they're dumping it now. But with an active VTT with the microtransaction formula behind it, they'll get that player who's playing, and they want that spell, and that spell's $1.99, but they need that spell to do what they want to do, or that key.
Without buying that spell, you can still cast it, but there won't be any on-screen effect for it. You need that on-screen effect because that's why you're playing our VTT.
Or they design the game around where you don't really need the item, but if you have the item, you'll get to where you want quicker and easier. And it's like these online games like where you do Farmville and stuff. Well, you don't need to buy the hay bale to make your animals live, but if you want your animals to grow and do this, you got to buy that. So that's what they're going for. They're microtransactions. That's where the money's at with them. Yes, and it's where the money's at on online gaming. Period.
So if you want to feel the overhead compared to a physical game or a toy is ridiculously low.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to get really depressed here, Eric and I, more depressed than you are on the 5th anniversary. Eric and I, through the year, have talked to people behind the scenes who do not this doesn't come from me, but you heard blank.
Right.
And what we keep hearing is that they have play tested the new version of D&D and the new adventures, and universally they say they're terrible, absolutely awful. And these are
no
people
one
that
was
like 5e. These are people. These are 5e people that are absolutely. These aren't you and me and Joe, whatever. Joe's going to hate anything 5e anyway. Right? But no, these are people that like 5e, and they're saying this is awful. This is just absolutely. You can tell this is written by people who don't know how to write or don't have any kind of career in writing. So either they're going to use that as an absolute excuse. Oh, we got to get rid of. Look, we came out with some print books for 50th anniversary, and they didn't sell at all. And so we're just going to have to move really hard to VTT.
Here's the problem with the transaction log. Right. I'm looking up Zynga. Guys know who Zynga is?
Yeah.
They are. That's all they do. It's these transaction micro thing, right? So their peak revenue was in 2021. They've fallen off since then. Was $2.8 billion. Hasbro is a $5.3 billion company. So again, I question that.
But Rob, here's the thing: profit margin. The profit margin on your digital product is by magnitude larger than what you get. You could be a $5 billion company. What's your profit margin?
Well, it's also your
What's
ROI.
bigger?
You just take a look at your bottom line. Look at your ROI on print developed versus digital developed.
Mhm.
Your ROI is far higher
Yeah.
at the bottom end. So return on investment, basically.
Yeah, so don't just look at Wizards has already said they are willing to take a loss when it comes to their player base, lose market share essentially, if it increase their profit margin. If they are going to make more money for every dollar they put into it, they figure in the short term and the long term, they will be better off. And if they lose half the gamers that are currently playing D&D in this transition, and yet they pick up 1/20th of the computer gamers, they are ahead of the game because whatever they pick up is going to be buying into microtransactions and subscriptions, and the players are going to be monetized.
Half nothing. I heard that they are calculating they could lose the entire current player base and still make money with a computerized version of the game, because they would pick up that many new people spending more money than the people that they have now.
Mm-hmm.
So when
there's your great replacement theory,
right? Hey, listen, your first sign for this, in my opinion, was when they started offering pre-orders with the digital bundle, right? And you could only get it with the digital bundle, but the digital part came 2 weeks early. Why? Because they don't want to sell through the mom and pop hobby shop. They don't care about that aspect anymore. No. That is dead to them. Those customers aren't going to be the ones that are going to buy into the electronics. They want somebody buying directly from them, because once you're in their platform, D&D Beyond, it's like a drug dealer. Your first hit's for free. I'll bring you to D&D Beyond. You get a chance, but wait till you try it, man. Wait till you try it. You're going to see what the subscription gives you. You're going to come in, and again,
hold on. So your whole theory, Eric, that they'll see increased profit margin. Therefore, logic stands that Zynga, who only business is making these type of games, they should have a hell of a profit margin. Is that true, Eric?
I'm pretty sure they have a very large profit margin.
They do not have a.
Well, they'll have a more focalized. Glenn, Rob, I think the thing is though, the difference is this: with Wizards of the Coast, they have a very narrow subject line, which is D&D product line, whereas Zynga, they have their hands in a lot of different things. So with WotC, with a digital platform, they're utilizing that digital platform very narrowly, whereas Zynga's doing it more broadly. So their monies are being
spent differently, developed stuff. But here's the thing: we don't have to agree with what WotC is doing. We don't have to think it's a smart idea. They need to think it's a smart idea, and they do. Mm-hmm. Well, listen, they've done their surveys. We just had we had 2 recent surveys this year. from Watsi. Okay, they're not selling to their current customer base as where their money's going to be. They've already said their customer base is under monetized. They're not going to change that. You're not going to change players who've never had to pay to play before. That's why they gave up. That's why they gave up the tabletop stuff. They just said Creative Commons, take it, play with it. We don't care. We don't care. That's why they're rebooting 5e. And it's going to be a newer, better 5e. And by the way, as Mike was saying, we've heard that the newer, better is not really being liked by the current 5e players because it's being written with the idea of a VTT behind it.
Yeah, I get that, Eric. But we've been saying this for a better part of 8 months when the first indication of what they're going to do came out in I think it was April or May.
Right.
But now we're into is this going to even work for them?
Oh, I don't know. And I'll be honest with you, Rob, I don't give a fuck. Not that I don't care.
Well,
I literally don't give a fuck.
I think
not that anybody here does.
I think what you've seen is none of this happens overnight, and I think they've been gradually building up to this.
Go to hell, Rune.
Yeah,
for quite a while, and this latest purge of employees is a large step towards going digital. They're getting rid of the dead weight. What do we need? What don't we need for future plans? Well, we don't need all these creatives that do print-based media. So let's start getting them flushed out and getting in their place people who want to do the digital and help us with our digital. So I think that's what you have to do is you have to take a look at a real broad picture of what are they doing? What are they prepping for? Why are they firing these people? Well, it's obvious because look what they do. Who are they keeping? It's
the thing is you got to look at who they're firing. You got to look at who they hired and kept on. And I look at these guys, and I haven't done this before. And I look at these guys, and these guys are like, yeah, sure, they have experience in mobile transaction games, but their games weren't that good. They were like middling successes in all. I'm looking through these people, and I don't have a report, so I can't cite chapter and verse on it. So you kind of have to look at it your own.
We trust you, Rob. We trust you,
Rob. Yeah.
You look at these guys' resume on LinkedIn, like who's in charge of the team, and it's all available. It's just not impressive. I can't.
But the thing is, they're not looking for a superstar. They're looking for a team. They're looking for filler. And another problem might be they're trying to get some bigger superstars in programming, and these people are going, oh hell no, I've seen what you've done to staff before. I'm not getting involved with you. So it's kind of like they're taking what they can get.
I agree. I mean, Hasbro had so many. When I was doing this, I was reading on Hasbro's past digital efforts, and their reputation at that is shit as far as Hasbro goes.
Can you just explain why they're not getting the best of the best? When you poach, you hope to get the best. But in this case, I think WotC was the only lesson they learned from GleeMax was don't put all your eggs into two of your eggs into one basket. All two programmers. Oh, look at that, it works. Oh, don't put your two programmers on this project that's supposed to make or break a company. We'll invest tens of millions of dollars, hire hundreds of programmers, and get it done right. And then after this VTT is working, I can almost guarantee you there'll be a purge on the VTT staff. They'll keep them enough to keep some new tchotchkes going and to make sure there's no ongoing issues. But no, that's another purge. So anybody who took that job took it for combat pay. All right. It's kind of like Rach when she used to work for programs that were based on a grant. You knew you had 2 or 3 years of getting decent pay, and when the grant ran out, you were shit out of luck. You knew that. Well, these guys came in with the idea it's going to look good in their resume. Hey, I worked on the D&D VTT. Imagine how my resume is going to look after showing that I worked on ping pong on a mobile app. It's gonna look pretty impressive, even though all they did was the microtransactions, finer diddling, but that doesn't matter. They know they're going to get dismissed, or they're on a contract. You know, they
My
know.
prediction is this: that the D&D VTT will be halfway competent. It will not be terrible. It will look spiffy at first, but then people will try it and they'll quickly. It's just like what happened. It's what's going to happen in the next 3 years. It's the same thing that's going to happen with D&D 4E. People get it. It's the new exciting thing for a year, but it has no legs. People get bored of it, and it will just crash and burn.
Yes.
And because they're gutting their print side, they're not going to have much to fall back on. So it's going to be uncharted.
Well, not only that is that they don't. Before, the people who ran the company or ran TSR, they had a vested interest in making it succeed because that's what they did for a living. They were writers, they were creators, they were artists. The people who are running WotC now, they don't have a vested interest. They don't. I mean, if it succeeds or not, it's fine. It doesn't matter to them. They'll move on to the next industry. They're Microsoft employees. That they will find a job in some kind of industry online. It does not have to be gaming. Whereas in the back in the TSR era, that's what these guys did. They did gaming. And that's the problem when you purge your creators from the company, is that these guys will lose interest in making sure this succeeds. It's either going to succeed or not. If it doesn't, fine. They'll move on to the next company. It doesn't bother them. But before it was different. They wanted these things to succeed. I think that's your big problem. Is yes, when you fire your creatives, and I've said this many times, it's the first time in the history of the company that people who are not actually involved in writing and artists and creative are going to be running the company. Up until now, you had that. These were all writers and creators.
Yeah, and I. This is an example of one, so I feel bad for picking on the guy, and I'm not going to mention his name, but I had a video game developer, a friend of mine brought him into, I was running an online campaign through Roll20, and let's just say his view of how the rules related to the game, it just wasn't in the same ballpark. It was very rigid, and if they treat their rules like rules to World of Warcraft, it's going to be it's going to be an order of magnitude worse than D&D 4E ever was.
Well, so are we happy then that we? Are we happy then that we have the OSR, because the OSR is with
absolutely.
That's what we're going to say. That's what we segue into. Well, we're going to say goodbye to WotC, which a lot of us already have. Pretty much, we've said goodbye. I just pointed out a couple of products that because I always say I don't buy WotC, but I did buy the reprint books, and I did buy the brown box when it came out, because they were cool retro products. Those are marketed to me, and so I like those. But I don't buy anything else that comes out. But you know what I buy? I buy Shadow Dark, I buy Dolmen Wood, I buy Dragon Slayer, I buy all these products that come out that are geared towards me. And so for us, it's not going to be a tragedy when this happens. We're just going to, I mean, the tragedy is just going to be, it'd be the same thing if Starbucks failed tomorrow. You're going to say, oh, we lost all these coffee shops. Great. Well, you lost, the problem is you have what's called the Starbucks effect, which the success of coffee shops means that all coffee shops do well. The success of WotC means that that's why all these OSR smaller companies have popped up. I mean, that because of general interest in game. When WotC fails, you're going to lose a lot of that, and it's sad to think
but we're also kind of in uncharted territory with all the Kickstarters and stuff going on. I mean, we don't know where this is going to lead us. It hasn't matured yet. I mean, Shadow Dark, what, $1.3 million? Dolmenwood, a setting product, which rules, but mostly focused on a setting, got over $1 million. And, and then people, we mock the MCDM people, but still, $3 million on theirs. I mean, this is a hobby that's not going to go away anytime soon.
And these big Kickstarters, Rob, that's the whole thing that WotC doesn't understand. These big Kickstarters are being supported, but they're print. They're not virtual. They are print products.
And
So
let's not lose sight of the fact that it was the success of those huge Kickstarters that started all this. We want to get rid of the OGL, and if you make more than X dollars, you have to give us a percentage. That's what started all that. Was that WotC was seeing people making literally tens of millions of dollars on their game, and they weren't getting a cut.
But Rob,
We can't let this happen.
But Joe, we've talked about this in the show because they're putting out shitty product, and that's the whole thing. Is
that's why they want to get a cut.
Dark is not a crappy product. Don't remember what these are good products. And so when they sit there and go, well, we need to stop these people from taking the money. It's ours. This money could be yours. You could hire a Kelsey. You could hire a Joe Block. You could hire these people to do products that would do that as well. They
but
don't.
Why would
they're
any of us
sick of their own
take the
farts.
job?
They're sitting here going, we're putting out the best product that could possibly be. How come we're not selling anything? It's not the best product it could possibly be. It's bad product.
It's because of the people who are running the show.
It does not. I mean, look at the independent reviews. I'm not talking about people just like the OSR. Look at reviews for stuff like Spelljammer and in Starbucks and D&D or whatever the hell that was called, Strixhaven. The reviews were terrible. That stuff, it's Mike, bad product. But yes, if you put out bad product, you're not going to sell your product.
But their solution to the bad writing with that new OGL that everybody hated was that they pretty much got access to your IP, what you wrote, and they could just use it. And that, so they were thinking, we don't have to write anything good, but if something sells, we'll just take it if they use the new OGL.
But that's just it. Fundamentally, the reason why they're putting out crap product is because the people that are the ones that have the sign off on it are the ones, these people don't have experience in the game itself. These upper level management people don't understand. I bet you if you took the top 50 upper level management people at WotC, set them down and said, I want you to demonstrate how to play D&D with me, they'd all stare at you. And they'd be looking at their products online and they'd be like,
okay, you roll dice, you do something with the dice.
Yeah, exactly.
The winners in any industry are the people who know the logistics and who understand the creative.
Absolutely.
You need both in order to become the top, or just to be successful. I mean,
you have to understand the product that you're selling.
I have an experiment for you. There's 7 of us here. Take the top 7 WotC execs, and we'll run 14 games, and we'll have somebody on the side with a gun saying, all right, 7 of you are going to be shot if you run a shitty game.
Oh, I'm safe then. I'm good. Woo. I thought this was going to be
Rob gets shot because he tries to run a LARP, and they just
there's reasons I don't take a bet. I don't take bets.
So, I'll tell you what. I think the majority of us, if not all of us, would survive.
I think.
Look, if we were getting out there and doing that, everybody would turn around and just say, "Hold my beer."
And the other thing that dumbfounds me about this whole situation, the whole reason why Hasbro has option in the first place was because the print books did so well during the pandemic. I mean, it just exploded out of nowhere, and they had to make it even more hot. They, in addition to, not in lieu of, they had all the VTT stuff that they had going on that they were making money off. So the two produced the best year of D&D of all time.
But it was an anomaly. It was an anomaly, Rob. That they did not recognize that it was an absolute anomaly. Yeah. It was a once in a generational plague that got everybody stuck in their house.
And here's the thing, Rob. Yes, they sold the most physical books. Why? Because people weren't taking them to the game table because nobody was playing face to face. People were reading. People were doing a lot of stuff that they weren't doing when they would normally be going out. They were stuck home. And the VTT usage shot up immensely. And companies got drunk on that, thinking this is going to be the wave of the future. Now, maybe Hasbro has some inside information on the next pandemic, and they're ready, and they're like, it's going to come.
They got stopped.
It's going to come in the election year, so we got to be ready for it. Now, VTT, if it's timed right, it's going to be, the bat's wings. I don't know.
But the thing is, do we have any data? I mean, we know that sales are lower than they were at the height of the pandemic, but are they lower than they were before the pandemic? Are we at a better place now because of all this what happened and during the pandemic? I submit from what I can tell, but it's still too kind of soon. I got to admit, it seems like the RPG industry right now is in a better place than they were before than they were in 2019. Even though they don't have the 2020 and 21 sales for the last 2 years, we're still better off than we were in the late 2010s.
I think it's more sustainable, Rob. I think. Well, I'll give you an example. Like this year, the movie industry lost billions of dollars. I mean, it lost more money this year than it ever in its history. Even during the Depression, when people didn't have 2 nickels to throw together, they would go see a movie because that's entertainment. The entertainment industry, blockbusters, just cratered this year. They lost money. They're going to have to retool their industry, and I have faith in Hollywood because Hollywood knows how to make money. They're going to figure this out. They're going to figure out that, you know what, we cannot put out $250 million blockbusters anymore because they're not going to make back $500 million. I mean,
minus one.
But, and here's the thing, though, with WotC, with their
wait, Bad Mike. So you're muted. You talk for about 5 minutes, for 2 minutes without saying anything.
I heard him. I
saw his lips move, but no sound.
Yeah, same here.
Really?
I heard him.
Maybe
Yeah, he's doing it again.
Now he's muted. Yeah, now you're muted, Mike. I'll go figure that one out. The quick point I'm going to make, we've already hit we've surpassed the 2-hour mark. So we probably should pull the plug anyway. But what I was going to say is that WotC's OGL fiasco, which we kind of started this conversation off with, gave the biggest boost to third-party publishers that we've probably ever going to see in our lifetime. Companies that were suffering during COVID, publishers that were taking a hit during COVID, have had their best year ever because of the OGL fiasco. So they have WotC to thank for that. Did it help WotC's business? Probably not. Now, I'm going to throw something else out there real quick. This was very successful. We got 50 viewers watching this live right now. I think we hit like 57 at one point. So I am going to say maybe we should possibly think about doing this on a quarterly or twice-a-year basis, because it's a lot of fun, and we'll bring in different people. In addition to the core here, we have 2 slots left, or 3 if Glenn keeps on dropping in and out like he did all day today. But really, I think that our audience enjoyed it. They've been very prolific in the comment section.
A lot of comments.
So I want to thank all my co-hosts today. We didn't quite get a Hollywood Squares board set up. Maybe next time we'll work on that. Yes, Mike, you know what? I need to use the Tavern's money to buy you a new headset.
Wait a minute, I got one thing, or my wife is going to kill me.
Yes, go ahead. I'm telling you.
Unmute, Mike.
You got to be kidding me! It's green screening. I'm going to turn off.
You see. All right.
Hold on. Virtual background. Turn it off. None. Okay.
All right.
So this is a dice case that my son and my wife designed together and put together.
Very nice.
And this is the dice.
Nice.
And you can see they have little inserts.
Oh, little cutout for him.
Yep. And this is absolutely a nice thing.
Very cool.
It fits in my dice box.
Why don't you show them the present you got me?
The wife's
okay.
now.
All right.
Oh,
all right.
boy.
There we go.
Okay.
There we go.
Now, if you're allergic to pink, avert your eyes now.
It looks
Nice.
warm. It's a
It looks
snuggie.
warm.
I rarely buy my wife's clothes because she knows best. But I
Did you
saw
buy 'em
that.
from
I read
Ralph?
up on the reviews, and I had to get it.
Glenn,
Did you
or,
buy?
excuse
Did
me,
you buy them
Rob,
from?
one, but that's blue.
What was the question?
Do you got one, Rob? Did you buy yourself a big snuggie that's blue though?
No.
Matching.
Oh, come on. You know you
Hey,
got one.
did
Just
you-
wear it and own up.
Hey, did you buy them from Ralphie?
Ralphie?
Christmas story.
Oh.
Oh, God.
Diane got that. She heard her laughter.
So, folks, unless Glenn and I decide otherwise, there's no live stream this Friday because it's the 5th Friday of the month, right? So there'll be no live stream.
Sounds good to me. I got to work on
Alright.
this problem I got.
Okay.
So,
There is a live stream on Saturday night, Gamers Health, and there's a bonus live stream of Gamers Health and friends of the community on New Year's Eve. We're going to kick it
Yay.
off around 11 o'clock Eastern time. Run it to at least after midnight Central time, so we can at least get 2 time zones in.
You're gonna let the ball drop through like a dice tower?
What?
You're gonna do the ball drop by dropping a d20 through a dice tower?
I don't know if Eric wants me to do the ball drop. He can.
We could
give me
we
the
could
link
do
and
that.
I'll do the. I'll tell you, it's gonna make with these metal dice. It's gonna make a hell of a lot of noise.
See, Rob, we might be doing New Year's Eve. All right, folks.
May your dice always roll nat 20. This time was a 12.
Well,
Better
as
than 4.
usual, be safe, be well.
And
God
I'll
bless.
make sure I'll have the original Stranger Things Demogorgon. Yes, I have that too.
There you go.
Thanks,
I
Hammer.
watched season 1 and I said, I recognize that figure. And it was in a shoebox. A metal
Seiko
figure.
Hammer for Old Man Grognard,
And,
Grey Hook
Radio
Grognard,
Grognard.
Radio Grognard,
Yeah.
Grey Hook Grognard for Joe, Tabletop Tap Room for Tom, Wizard Tower
Bat in the
Games
Attic.
for Don, Bed Mike and F. Bat in the Attic, and every other Friday night, Rob is a guest on he's a host on the Random Party Generator. He's not a guest.
Well, I've been
Yay.
upgraded to host. I've tried.
You're a host,
2024.
God damn it.
This
Yeah,
is the
I have a
close
nice
I've got to
2024
it.
to look forward to.
All right, folks. Thank you so much. God bless.
Stay safe from Pinkerton.
Good night, folks.
See ya.
Yeah.
No Pinkertons.